Welcome back. It's Todd from Todd Young Online. We're gonna do another flip through. This chonky boy, 14 by 17 Morilla. I don't know where I got this, but again, it's mid 90s, so turn of the century. I can say that. It's kind of cool. Um, what's even more interesting is I came across this and it's a real example of me trying to do a comic book, paneling stuff out, trying to do character work that I had come up with and get something down. It's not great. It's not great by any means, but it was a start, and it was where I was at the time, and hopefully I'm a little further along, but I still have a long way to go and a lot of practice to do. Um, Kind of the interesting thing is, for me anyway, is the blank page can completely overwhelm me. I'm normally an 11 by 8.5 by 11 or in that range, and even then I tend to panel out the pages and to make it more manageable to fill up. Um, so this was a big undertaking for me at the time to try and fill up the space. I look at this and see, how much space is here, and there's part of me that wants to really go back and fill this up, and I just might and have another flip through someday. It's not going to be tomorrow though. But my character work was crude. I think I have a better grasp on it now, even though um, it needs to be worked on. I have been thinking more recently about just a lot of it is staying consistent, staying focused, and staying intentional in what you're doing. uh, Especially for me, it's I have a lot of little doodles, and that's what these really are kind of um, filled with are doodles and ideas, but I never really fleshed out a lot. I had at one point, I kind of remember these last few pages. Um, an opportunity had come to me. There were some empty storefronts, and a friend of my mom's wanted paintings on the windows, and so I was coming up with some ideas for that, but never got anywhere with it because I just wasn't ready for that opportunity. Here, starting with a story and trying to panel it out and break it down. There was a story, "The Lady and the Tiger." Um, it's again crude. My attempt was crude, but at the time, for me, this wasn't bad. This was, a kind of ambitious undertaking for me, and especially at these huge. I mean, at this page size, to kind of, it should have been. It should have been. um, I'd been working on this wolf character for a while, and all these other characters, and trying to come up with this universe and this team book and this individual book and these ideas, which were kind of redundant, and you know it they have merit. That's all you can say about yourself sometimes is it gives you a starting place. It may not have been great, but you were at least trying and exploring and practicing, and I need a lot more practice. um, it's definitely something. I'm sitting here watching this with you. um, some of them, some little doodles turned out better than other little doodles. Man, I wasted a lot of space, didn't I? Look at all that white space. Makes me want to go. It really makes me want to go back. Um, I tend to get intimidated, especially at a large size. And if you're using like a pencil and it's making a thinner line, it makes the page even more overwhelming. But when you use a larger, like a brush or something that's larger, that fills up the page a little bit better, a little bit bolder, a little bit more dynamically, it helps to it helps to kind of overcome that feeling of what am I going to do with this. Um, let's see. Yeah, I had again. I've got a lot of naked characters because I was still working on anatomy and had not yet progressed into drapery and clothing and folds is very well. And man, I really have wasted a lot of space in this book. I know I can do faces better than this now. Maybe not a lot better, but I can do them better. Working on weapons. I had like a wolf pack idea. I had this guy. Just kind of some of it was taking practice from the comics I was reading, probably some Image stuff and definitely Marvel stuff, and um, trying to break them down and practice. And that's where I learned some of the anatomy I had been doing before I really kind of trying to find that style and still trying to find that style. Uh, some of this, like this, I used for a project at school. Using 3D shapes. So I took a bunch of boxes and I created a bunch of images and then broke them down and put different images on different sides of the boxes. So they were like giant building blocks. So you could put, it was either abstract with all the different pieces of an image, or you could put it together for the actual image. It was, it turned out fairly well. The drawing could have been better, but I'd probably do it a lot differently now. Still working on poses, still working on. This was also before I really, before I really kind of got into using blue line, or blue, non-photo blue, and blocking out my shapes better, blocking out my figures better. Um, I used to tend to do like outlines and kind of try and it was a lot more difficult. I remember using muscle magazines to do this one, to pull these poses, do some studies. Some of the women in the magazines, it's like the way I was doing it wasn't as efficient as it should have been had I blocked things in, knowing now what I didn't know then. Um, Blocking things in, a lot of naked characters, a lot of nudity. Children, don't look at this. But blocking things in definitely, and breaking, getting more detailed instead of trying to, draw these shapes and stuff. But overall, I mean, I can say I have finished pages. They aren't great pages, but I do have something finished. Um, so in terms of how I think now, it would be okay, now you've kind of got these roughs. Now go back and refine this. Go back and redo this. Go back and put some clothes on these people. Nope, she's definitely naked. That would have been a probably I think a female bodybuilder at the time, probably from the swimsuit issues of Image or Marvel or something, and character that used runes, Nordic runes, is. 'Cause, 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 color pencil. People that use colored pencil effectively are awesome, but otherwise, I think colored pencil is just a trash. But that's only because I can't use it very well. Those tiny feet, these weird. You got to kind of, if you go back and look at these, you could almost make something interesting out of them if you went back with ink and really leaned into how kind of raw they are and rough and um, appreciate them for what they are instead of what they aren't. So, but I guess that goes back to you got to be kind to yourself. You got to appreciate where you are and know that if you keep doing more, you will get better. Um, it's just learning how to see, how to do the stuff, how keep pushing yourself to keep learning and um, developing. One thing I was watching more recently on YouTube, they had I think Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, and they were all talking. I think it was a Stan Lee thing, and they were talking about how you're not going to do everything. They were talking about breaking into the comic book business and how you're not going to do everything well. That penciling, inking, whatever. That to pick one thing and focus on that. And I tend to agree that it's like, but at the same time, don't be afraid to try and keep figuring out, keep trying, keep leaning into it, and seeing what really grabs your interest. I remember you used to be able to, or you had to send away to the comic book companies, and they would send you samples to ink, which was kind of cool. Things used to be so much more complicated back in the day. Um, when you had to do snail mail and write checks, and now things are just do it digitally, download it, print it out. Life is so much easier. Back before the turn of the century. Yeah, another thrill kill and techno daemon trying to be kind of cool, trying to come up with something. We come towards the end of this, but yeah, just to walk through. Oh, this idea that I had one day, but no, thank you for sticking around and checking this one out, and I appreciate all your thoughts and encouragement and interaction with these things. Um, I got some more. I don't have nearly enough. It's like where I am at this point. It's like I should have a lot more, and I'm working on it. I'm finally getting back around to trying to dig back into things. But thank you very much for your time, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.